Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you this elegant card that we made using the Splendid Day suite of products found in the July-December mini catalog. We made this card during our Creative Now demonstrator event in June. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how I got started. I'm going to start with my stamping on here, and I am going to start with the sentiment. I'm going to use the Let's Celebrate, and I'm going to ink that up with my Memento, and I'm going to stamp it right in the center of this soft sea foam piece of cardstock and set that aside. The next thing I'm going to do is bring in my petal pink cardstock base and fold it on that score line, and then I'm going to bring in this beautiful line image, and I'm going to ink it up in the petal pink, and I am simply going to randomly, stamp going around the card front. Now you can turn the cardstock rather than the stamp, and of course the center area will be covered, so no worries there. There we go. Now that I have that done in this beautiful tone-on-tone with the petal pink ink, I'm ready to start assembling. So I'm going to bring in my sentiment piece, and I'm going to use the little banner die, and then I'm going to bring in 4 pieces of designer series paper. Now these papers are specialty papers, so they're foils, and I can run them through my emboss and cut machine 2 at a time. The main thing I wanted to show you is you want to set this die in the center of the layered piece because we're going to use both pieces in card making. So let me show you what that looks like. I've got all my pieces cut, the banner with my sentiment and the 4 half circles here, and of course, like I said, you're going to leave your outside pieces to the side because I'll share another card with you using those pieces. I've got my basic white cardstock piece, and I'm going to take my paper snips and open them. I'm going to take my paper snips and just drag it along the outside edge, and I hope you can see this. As I do that, I'm getting this little bit of fraying that happens. So you're going to go all the way around. You can bend this or do this more or less depending on the style that you like. This is a little bit of shabby chic, and of course if you don't like that, you can just leave it a regular panel and not do this to the edges. But this is a fun technique that will give you a little different look. I'm going to go around one time real quick, and of course then you have this wonderful little pile of schnibbly that you can wipe off your surface. I've got my panel done, and I'm ready to add my ribbon. So I'm going to bring in this beautiful soft seam binding and soft sea foam, and I am going to wrap it around the panel and tie it into a knot. Once again, I love this kind of knot because we don't need to worry about where you tie it. We can always move it after the fact. And I am going to pull that just a little bit so I've got this beautiful knot in the center, and then trim. And while I have my scissors in the same orientation, I'm going to trim the other side. I've got my ribbon on, and I'm going to slide it over to the left and adjust slightly. I want it, about an inch, inch and a half up from the bottom, like so. I'm going to flip this over and bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to add to the 4 corners and down the center. And of course, if you'd like to, you can tack that piece of ribbon with the dimensional. Remove the backing, and we're going to adhere this right on to the center of the card front. There we go. Now that I have that done, I'm ready to bring in these beautiful foil half circles, and you're going to love this die. It adds a beautiful little stitched edge to the outside and some piercing also. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to lay these down. I'm going to angle them slightly and put them in place. There we go. I kind of like that. So I am ready to adhere. And just to show you where I'm going, we're going to put our sentiment here so you know where placement is. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and add some adhesive to the back. And then start at the top and add some adhesive to the back of the half circles for the top. So I'm going to 1, 2, and I'm overlapping a little bit so that there's plenty of space, and 3. There we go. I've got my half circles on and I'm ready to add my sentiment. Now for my sentiment, I am going to pop this up with a dimensional on each end. Not only will this pop this up, but it'll allow me to catch the ribbon also. And I'm going to put one on 2 opposite corners, top and bottom, so that it'll grab that ribbon but not sit on the ribbon and slide around. Tuck it under the tail and adhere. There we go. Adjust, and then I'm going to bring in these beautiful leaves. These are our open leaf trinkets that are part of our Splendid Day Suite, and they've got this beautiful finish to them. I am going to take one of our glue dots, and I'm going to be placing this right in the corner here. So let me expose those. I'm going to use 2 of my glue dots. And I'm going to add 1, let's see, and 2. I've added 1 to the end on the top side because I'm going to put it under the corner here, and that'll help it adhere to the cardstock. And then I added a second dot on the back since it'll adhere to the basic white panel. And just for good measure, I'm going to add a second dot to the back of the top also. And then I'm going to simply slide this in and adhere down. There we go. It's that quick and simple, and you've got this beautifully elegant card to celebrate with somebody. You'll find all of these products in our July-December mini catalog. The Splendid Day Suite is filled with beautiful products that coordinate together. And of course, if you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.